welcome to this week's edition of the Hard Rock Show. I'm Andrew.
I'm Brendan.
I'm Tim.
We are getting better at the whole online thing, so make sure you are following all of our different social media channels to keep up to date with us, and also make sure you're tuning in Thursday nights at 10:30pm on Channel 44 in Adelaide, and Saturday nights at the same time, 10:30pm on Melbourne's Channel 31, to see us on your TV screens and get all the clips that we can't play online on that format. We also have Patreon, so please support us via that platform if you'd be so kind. And also, please do support our sponsors for supporting us in Squidding, Screen Printing, Alt Cult, and Rockstar Finance. It's also important to know that Alt Cult at the moment are doing their Battle Jacket competition once again, so get your entries in now before it all closes off. Check out their online details for more. Coming up for you this week, we've got a hot topic on 5 bands we would like to see perform with an orchestra, like what we covered off recently with the S&M2 category. Then we're going to have reviews of the latest from the Casanovas, Hell in the Club, and Stryper, which is always a bit of fun. So we'll get to those in just a moment. But first things first, how's everyone going? How are you going? How have you been keeping up? Brendan, I haven't seen you for about a week, I think.
Yeah, look, coping all right. You know, doing what we can. You know, we've got our roadmap now, so we're all sorted. You know, more power to you. And we'll just sort of crack on. So anyone that is watching in Adelaide, fuck you, because you can go outside. And
any other state apart from Victoria right now, it's online.
But you know, look, it's a bit of a battle, but you've got to settle into it. You know, we're remaining sort of watered and fed. So you know, there are people out there get a lot worse than we do. So we just bang on.
Yeah. How about you, Tim? Still built for isolation?
I'm actually, this week was sort of the first sort of week we started to get, like, warmer weather.
Mm-hmm.
And it actually made a huge difference. I don't know. For me, it just actually felt nice.
Yeah.
Being able to step into the backyard and feel warmth.
Yeah, the sun being out makes a big difference.
I'm usually, I usually love winter, but I suppose being all cramped up sort of gives you an appreciation of things. Yeah.
Mowed the lawn for the first time in weeks the other day.
Nice.
There you go,
man.
Yeah, well, when the dogs aren't mowing it up with themselves with their feet, and that's kind of needs to be done now and then. So, just been doing the same old here. Just keep on keeping on doing work when there's a shift, and otherwise sitting here editing and listening to music and doing all the right things that you're supposed to do.
Exactly.
Being a responsible member of society.
Yeah.
And drinking myself stupid at home while doing so. That's pretty much all there is to talk about at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah, how good is it that Buddy Dan Murphy delivers within 2 hours now?
Yeah. How much are we all road testing that one at the moment? Anyway, let's get on to having some fun with this sort of stuff. Let's break our own personal monotony and get into it. So we're going to do a little bit of a discussion on 5 bands, or active bands, I should say. Hopefully we'll be active bands we'd like to see performing with an orchestra, a la the S&M2 kind of a setup. So let's go to you, Tim. Which ones have you got on your list?
So I think bands that work best are bands that are, for lack of a better term, musical wankers. So the 5 bands I've got here are Mastodon, because I reckon they do a really killer job with it.
Actually, yeah.
Tool, because again, who are bigger wankers than Tool? Baroness, Gojira, and the one that I reckon would be interesting to see would be 9 Inch Nails.
Ah, okay. With an old school discography or the newer, more soundscapey stuff?
Either or, because I mean, well, Trent's already got a classically trained pianist anyway, so he has that kind of a background, and I think with that kind of music being a bit chaotic and soundscapey anyway, that they could actually do something interesting with it.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah, I hadn't even considered them, to be honest. That'd be really interesting.
Me?
Yes, go for it.
Actually, oddly enough, Mastodon was the first one I wrote down too. I just think the music really lends itself to doing something with that. I think it's...
I'd like to do a special on that band at some point.
Yeah, I think that'd be
we should.
Kind of curious. Another one I'd like to hear, and it's not as obvious. It's one of those ones that I think because of the way they play, I think there's a lot of like soundscape to work an orchestra in, and that was Alien Weaponry. I thought they could actually do something very interesting with that. And it's not that the riffs lend itself to it. I think there's space in the riffs that allow an orchestra to come in and play over the top.
Yep.
Another one's just a purely selfish one that's a little out of what we normally do, but I'd just like to hear it. I'd like to hear Kate Miller-Heidke do her power pop stuff with an orchestra.
That
I've
would
heard
be
her sing
really
in front of an orchestra. I've seen her play her power pop stuff. I'd like to see it combined.
Okay.
Personally, I think she's one of the best singers the country's ever produced. So I'd just really like to see that happen.
No, she's fantastic.
Yeah. Cool.
Another one for me I thought was obvious, but of the modern bands, I thought Ghost would go really well. I mean, they've got a lot of musicians on stage when they play anyway, but I think there's a lot of scope to fill. And to go a bit old and crusty, but just something, which would just be musical porn for me, I think Megadeth would be interesting.
Okay.
If Metallica can do it, I think Megadeth could probably do it better. So
Potentially,
if Dave could still sing, which he can't.
No,
Megadeth of 2003.
Yes.
Yeah. So get a time machine all right as well while we're doing the wish list thing. First one that came to mind for me was Ghost, obviously. Like, it's been covered off all the reasons why. I just think that would work really well. And imagine their light show along with that. It would be amazing to just sit there and imagine being in the room with that level of sound too. It would be bloody amazing.
Yeah.
This would be cool. It'd be really interesting to see if they could pull it off. But I reckon if any of the old school metal bands could, it'd be Iron Maiden.
Yeah, I'd strongly consider that too.
Yeah, I reckon they'd be really good.
Yeah.
An outsider choice for me would be Alice in Chains. I think the musicality of what they've got would be interesting to see played off against with that. And I reckon...
Yeah, I thought about that as well.
Yeah. I mean, you get Sean Kinney on the drums and you know that you're going to go pretty well. All the players are bang on. So I don't think there'd be any technical problems. Matter of getting the arrangements right, I reckon they could do that too. For a couple of local bands, I wanted to throw a couple of locals in as well. And I've gone for more of the symphonic or progressive kind of rock from here. And I've gone with Acolyte and Divine Ascension. I think they'd both be really well suited to that environment. I think that,
Acolyte would be really good, actually.
Yeah, it'd work really well, wouldn't it? Like, you get the sound, like the way they write, the way they perform, it'd be amazing. And if, again, the stage show they have as well to go with it would be very, very cool. And if I'm going to throw in a couple of bonuses, actually Halloween would be interesting. But also Rammstein. Imagine them trying to slow it down with the pyro and just not trying to burn all the cellos, but imagine a bit of pyro with an orchestra and Rammstein, just for a bit of fun.
That'd be cool.
It'd be interesting to watch. And I'd want to see that, the first violinist's reaction when the pyro goes off next to her head, kind of thing. Like, it'd be interesting.
If I had an honourable mention, it was Primus, just to see what the fuck would happen.
Yeah, that's true. I would pay that. That'd be very interesting.
It probably wouldn't work, but I just want to know what would happen.
I know, because if the theory snobs get their hands all over it, they might just pull something really unique and interesting out of the hat on that one.
You need a quirky orchestra.
You would.
Yeah.
There'd be a few around, though, I'm sure. There'd be one somewhere to do it.
There'd be quite a few of those modern orchestras, because I imagine, to a degree, they're all bored. They'd have to be bored shitless with playing bloody Beethoven and Mozart and Bach all the fucking time.
Yeah.
So, but there's not as much demand for like modern symphony as well. So, for them, it's probably playing Jesse's Girl, playing that stuff over and over again. Although, it's much
you
more
just compared
extreme.
Bach to Jesse's Girl.
But it probably is. It was the pop music of its fucking time, let's be honest. Because it's reasonably simple. Is the wrong
it can
word,
get tiresome.
it's easy on the ear.
Yeah.
So, I'd be curious, rather than taking on Wagner or something.
Paganini.
Yes.
Bit of Paco Bell.
Right.
The rest.
If I had a Smokey, it'd be Powerwolf.
That'd be interesting.
Just because, again, it'd be ridiculous.
Yeah, that would be odd. I'd love to see it happen, though, just for the fun of it.
Yeah. But that kind of power metal band, because those bands are over the top anyway.
Well, yeah. If you're going to go down that path, then, you'd want Manowar. Let's see.
No.
Exactly.
That's about the reaction I expected.
Can you imagine a whole string section sitting there in furry undies?
I would see Manowar, but they've got to swap costumes.
So you want
they've got to see Manowar playing tuxedos and the The
Evidence
orchestra
is very
playing
ugly.
loincloth.
I would be down for that. Actually, that would be interesting. So,
I'd watch it, but it would be awful.
It would be awful. It'd be the fingernail on the blackboard effectively what that is. But yes, it would be intriguing. Put it that way, diplomatically. Probably get all the hate mail in the comments. So far off. Anyway, we'll move on to a review, are we?
Let's.
All right. So first up, we're going to do the Casanovas with Reptilian Overlord. If everyone's good to go on that, we have 10 tracks for 38 minutes. The fourth studio album from the Australian band, released August 2020 by Rubber Records, produced by Mark Opitz. This is the first album from this band in over 5 years. Brendan, over to you.
I love the Casanovas and have for a long time. Just a great rock band. It's just one of the classic examples of a good Melbourne band that should get played and doesn't. It's bloody frustrating, and they've even done it on the evil, commercial rock station that shall not be named anymore. They've played snippets of it, they've talked about it, and they say, "Oh, these guys are great, we should get them on," and don't.
It always happens.
Fuck those guys. This is a great band. This is a really good album. I think it's really well made. I reckon they've captured what they sound like live. To anyone that has seen them, they're bloody fantastic. If I've got a gripe, it's what's the song called? Is it St Kilda is Fucked or something like that?
Yeah, that one. Yep.
I was hoping that would be my favourite song on the album, and it wasn't. That's a real downer for me. But no, generally I loved it. This is just good. If you know them, you're not going to get anything different. You're going to get these guys doing what they love and what they're bloody good at. I gave it 8.5 out of 10. I thought it was a great album. The highlights were Cold Day in Hell and Lost and Lonely Dreams.
Oh, cool. All right. Timmy.
As has been covered, these guys are fantastic. If you don't know what they sound like, the way I would describe it is sort of, 50s, 60s R&B, rock and roll with like a grungy guitar tone, a little bit dirtier, and a little bit more modern. And I think it sounds fantastic. These guys, they're just a solid hard rock band, and they've got nice swing, nice groove. I love the vocals as well.
Yeah.
I think his voice just lends itself beautifully to this kind of stuff, and he's not pristine and perfect, but it's good rock and roll. Shit.
It's genuine.
That's it. And the thing that I love that was of this one, I think they captured, again, they captured how they sound like live, but they also captured that sort of feeling of a band playing in a room and swinging together and really gelling as people enjoying what they're doing and playing music rather than just, track A, track B, track 3. The whole thing came together really nicely. I loved it. 8 out of 10 for me. And Cold Day in Hell was my highlight.
Cool. Well, digging into these guys, it's like my first real time experiencing them, which is odd for me to say that when you look into the history. They've been around since 99. It's like, fuck me. And they've been around for a while, and I've not really had much to come across with them until now. It's simply put just pure fun rock. People will compare them to AC/DC, but it's got roots in much deeper old school sort of rock and roll than that. I thought the lyrics were fun, clever. They're on PC side of things. It's very well done. And it's got that real significant Melbourne flavour. It's like the forget the album we did. I think it was for one of the 70s specials, Brendan, that we did. I think it was, don't know which one now. We were talking about how it was so Melbourne. It was just so definitively Melbourne. And this is another one of those albums where you can tell.
It might have been Skyhawks, I think.
Might have been, yeah, I think it was.
Yeah.
And, referencing places in time, especially the St Kilda is Fucked song, it like really puts it roots down in a particular place. So I like when albums do that, and it's nice when it comes from your hometown kind of thing.
Yeah.
I thought the mix was really good. I've usually been slightly critical of Mark Opitz's mixes in some respects. I know that generally he does a very, very good job, but some of them, I think it depends. He tends to go a bit too, I don't know, what you talk about how they captured the room and the feel and the swing, that was the organic part that I've sort of sometimes missed on previous ones, and that was really well captured, just like you guys caught. And also the overall mix was nice. It had nice bright, nice dark, and all the mids were sort of there. Like, it was all really balanced, really well presented. Bits of ear candy into. The only critique I could make of that was maybe the drums could have come up just a touch. I thought they might just a touch back, but not really a noticeable thing. It's just me being picky as always. I liked the rhythm section on this in particular, but there was little things like piano in there. The lead guitar work was very tasty as well, and the vocals are well suited to this style. I like the harmony in that aspect too. When that came on, that was very, very cool. Solid performances and writing, nothing overdone. It's entertaining. It's not boring. It doesn't overstay its welcome either. It's nothing really new, but it's done very, very well, and it's easy to go down and repeat. Cool energy, nice gear changes, all that sort of stuff is there. It's like that. We've all referenced it, I think, in some way, shape, or form. It's that mix of the old blend with the present. It's got all that, you know, anything from the 60s up till today is, you know, it is referenced here. I think if you can listen for anything from sort of Kiss to AC/DC, then there's something here for you, in my opinion. And the little spoken bit at the very, very end of the album was a nice little touch to close things out with as well. I gave it an 8 out of 10. I picked Red Hot Outlaw, and I did pick Brendan Security as fuck as my standout. So we've made up for you not going down that path. That was a very, very cool album. I'm glad. I'm going to go back and check out the rest of their discography, and when we can get back to seeing gigs again, I do want to go and check them out. They'd be very, very fun live, I reckon, on the back of that. You guys both seen them live? I know Brendan has, but...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good band.
Live as well, I'm assuming?
Simon St. Kilda.
Oh, yeah. There's a theme.
Yeah.
Wow. Bloody hell. Oh, from local to international, let's go to Hell in the Club with Hell of Fame. That's 11 tracks for 44 minutes. The 5th studio album from the Italian band made up of members of Elven King and Secret Sphere. Released September 2020 by Frontiers Records. Recorded, mixed and mastered by Simone Mulleroni, who does a lot of work for that label. We did cover their last album, or maybe even 2, I think. So we figured we'd give this one a go as well. Have either of you guys reviewed Hell in the Club in the past?
No.
First off for you. All right. Tim, let's go to you first.
I was hoping you would go to me first. I thought this was a cliche of an album.
Yeah?
It wasn't much I haven't heard before on here, and what really annoyed me with this was it sounded like Skid Row does radio jingles.
Okay,
and when it didn't sound like Skid Row does radio jingles, it sounded like Glee does Skid Row. It's just childish. I just couldn't get into it at all.
Wow.
Yeah, it's very melody heavy and sounded like a radio jingle at times. Could not get into it at all.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. I'm not sure what else to say about it.
No scores, no highlights, no nothing?
There was not really many highlights.
Are you going to bin it?
Yeah.
Oh, it's a bin. I think it's our first Zoom bin album.
I could not get into
Is it Tim's first bin?
No, I've been Nita Strauss.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
But it's good that Tim bins so few that he knows what they are off the top of his head.
Yeah, that's good.
All right, over to you, Brendan.
Yeah, much like Tim, I struggled with it.
Wow.
Particularly, and to be honest, I don't know who's advising this band, but whoever picked that first track, that was a huge mistake. Because that first track that's the Invaders of opening tracks, you know, and like it doesn't fucking belong there. It probably shouldn't have snuck onto the album, let alone opened it.
Wow.
And so the good news is it got better from there. But, geez, I was listening to that first track going, oh, I'm in for a bumpy ride here. This is going to be, you know. It did get better. And like that, I said Skid Row doing jingles is a good way of putting it. And there's a few bands doing this, particularly some of the Swedish bands and stuff. And like, you know, here we've got a few as well over the journey, and it's sort of Dangerous Curves and Sisters Dole and these bands doing it as well. But I think they're doing it much better.
Okay.
You know, you're going for that kind of retro sound, but, you know, if you don't put some kind of stamp on it, it just sounds a bit try-hard and same-ish.
Okay.
The album didn't do a lot for me. I didn't hate it. It definitely got better as it went on. The guitar riffs were you know, pretty solid. It sounds good. I thought the vocals were very thin, and that's a mix, not having a go at the guy singing. I think it just, I don't know, the vocals seemed almost washed out.
When you listen to this through?
It's just on Spotify. When I normally listen to it, yeah.
Wow. Okay, I didn't get that impact at all. But all right.
Yeah, just look, and like I said, by the end of it, it wasn't horrible. It got better as it went on. Like I said, I just think it started really badly. So however they picked those tracks, I'm like, shit, interesting. But anyway, look, it was okay. I gave it sort of 6 out of 10 because of just a bit middle of the road. Yeah. Worst case scenario, Mr. Grouch, I thought were the highlights, but yeah.
Okay. Well, we crossed over Mr. Grouch because that's a highlight for me as well. I really enjoyed the mix on this. I thought the mix was really well done. I thought there was some layering and it breathed nicely, all that sort of stuff. There was a really nice balance between the top and the bottom end. I don't know why the vocals didn't cut through for you. They worked well for me. I thought the tones were great. The performances were good too. And there were little harmonic moments in there that I really enjoyed. I thought there was actually a fair bit of attention to detail paid in this one. It might be a case of me coming off of previous records with these guys as well, so I don't know if I knew better what I was in for and it's given me a different baseline to start from. Maybe if I came in cold, I don't know. But yeah, obviously I know the band from previous stuff, so it's given me a different platform to build it from. At its core, it is that very European thing we've got going at the moment. It's the riff-driven melodic rock that, it's got that sort of thing where it crosses from sort of flirting with metal to flirting with the AOR kind of thing, anywhere in between that sort of wheelhouse. They go great on things like Melodic Rock Fest, for example. They fit right into that lineup. I thought the writing was good. I liked the hooks on it. I thought everything they did served the songs, and I thought lyrics in that regard did that too. I actually enjoyed the energy and the track order. I thought it was a feel-good one to put on as well. I'm surprised that it didn't go as well with both of you guys. It's interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't expect that. I know what I'm expecting out of the next one, but I didn't expect this one to sort of get the response it got. It's kind of thrown me a little bit. I thought this had like bits of the 80s through to today. Like if you're a fan of anything from Motley Crue through to Eclipse and the music side of Steel Panther, then there's something in this one for you. That's kind of the wheelhouse it sits in. I don't know. For me, yes.
Satchel would beat you up for saying that.
Well, he can try.
I think
he's a girl anyway.
The melodies are good. The thing is, it's just all melodies.
But I don't mind that. I guess I don't know.
That's the thing. It's non-stop earwork.
Yeah, I don't know. Sit you guys down and see, like, yeah, I don't know, because I get that whole Eclipse thing, and I really enjoyed the last couple of Eclipse albums as well. So, what did you guys think of the last couple of Eclipse albums? I
remember the last one. I thought it was okay.
Yeah,
haven't heard anything other than that.
Okay,
I've never been a big fan, but it's kind of that stuff's not really. It's never really been my thing. You know, I tune out too quick if it's not attacking me a bit, you know. And again, it's not having a go at anyone's talent.
No. I'm not taking it.
Embarrassing so it was. Yeah, I don't know. It just doesn't grab me. Yeah.
No, well, I enjoyed it. I thought it was really fun. I gave it an 8.5 out of 10 for me. I really enjoyed it. So an 8.5 for me and a bin from Tim. So we'll see how we go. But I did pick Mr. Grouch, Lucifer's Magic, and Here Today, Gone Tomorrow as my standouts. Now we'll move on to the closer of the evening. We try and put the heavyweight of the episode toward the back end of things, and hopefully people
the main event.
The main event. Use the old wrestling card analogy here. You know, get the local boys to warm it up, and then close with the headline act. So this week we have Stryper with Even the Devil Believes. 11 tracks for 46 minutes. The 13th studio album, the American band, released September 2020 by Frontiers Records, produced by Michael Sweet. This one comes about after the last albums were generally pretty well received here at the show, and it's probably a good thing we don't have Dave with us tonight, going on previous history. But we are going to rip the bandit off. Brendan, you're going to go first on this one.
Am I?
Yes.
Did you say produced by Michael Sweet?
Yes.
Sounds fucking like it. Look.
Really? You don't rate him as a producer?
I barely rate him as a singer, but that's a whole nother story. I've never been a Stryper fan, and it's not just because of the subject matter, although that doesn't fucking help. This is just hard to listen to. And, you know, even the song titles sound like they come out of a hymn book, and the lyrics are even worse. So it makes it really hard to listen to if you think like I do. It's really hard to be sort of subjective on it. So I try to sort of block all that out and listen to the music, because I know there is certainly a section of the metal community that likes to defend Stryper, going, hey, they're great. If you put that aside, they're fantastic.
Yep.
But if this album's anything to go by, they're not. The riffs are solid, but the guitars are really pushed back. The vocals are pushed way too far forward. It's basically almost vocal and drum. So the fact that, you know, some of the Michael, what's his name? Michael Sweet.
Michael Sweet, yeah.
Produced it. I'm going, yeah. This is like the Justice for All for fucking Stryper albums. You know, he's just pushed forward exactly what he wants to push forward. And it sounds shite. And the lyrics are awful. And the whole thing just sounds really fucking contrived when the end of it. There were some really good riffs, but they haven't transposed the riffs into good songs. Yeah, again, lyrical content aside, good songs aren't there for mine. So if you're a Stryper fan, you might like it. If you're not, it's not going to change your mind. Yeah, I'll give it a 2.
No standouts?
Nah.
No. All right, Tim, follow it up.
So again, I went into this thinking I was gonna be fair.
Yeah.
And I want to be fair. So I thought, you know, there were some good performances on here overall, but the thing that made it really hard was the mix.
Okay.
So what happened, like what I think happened was, so the way it's mixed is you got a really big drum sound and the big bass sound, and the vocals are pushed right to the front, and the guitars all the way back. But what's happened is you've got really, you know, basic 4/4 drum beats, and the bass is following along with that. But most of the musical interesting stuff is happening in between the guitars and the vocals. But what's happened is they've gone for that hair metal guitar tone, which is really trebly and tinny, which clashes with the vocals. And when you got to pick one or the other, you go for the vocals. So that's pushed the guitars all the way back, and you can still kind of hear them, but they kind of do clash with the vocals. And because of that, because the guitars are so far back, you lose any potential interesting part of their songwriting because the mix just doesn't work. If this was mixed like an Alter Bridge album with a much meatier guitar tone and proper, like, mixed so that it allows the vocals to cut through without having to push them right to the front and push everything else to the back, then you might actually have a good album. But because of this, and I don't know why they've made this decision, that Michael Sweet produced it, maybe something to do with it, it just didn't work.
Okay.
He may have prayed for a good mix.
Yeah, it worked as well as the Pope's coronavirus blessing. I'll give it a 6. There's no real standouts. It's okay. There's decent performances all over it, but yeah, it could have been much better just with a bit more effort.
I think they did mix a trick with the mids. I think the mid-range doesn't help it. But I think that overall, I mean, the thing that first stood out for me is that Michael Sweet's approaching 60, and he can still, I know maybe Ren doesn't rate him as a singer, but I think he's still able to hit the notes and do all the things that he does. People may not like his tone. That's down to taste more than anything else, but I think his ability to hit notes and have a range is still very much there and strong.
But his melody choices are very cheesy too. You know,
that's always been the case, though. That's nothing
new.
No,
I'm not saying he can't sing. He obviously can sing, but, you know, like, I just don't find him pleasant to listen to.
Yeah, I figured that. It's not the most, like, when you're listening to it, the letdown with Stryper as a general thing is that musically, like, I put aside the lyrics because I think that for a while now they've actually done a pretty well-balanced job of making it more about a celebration as opposed to a preachy kind of attitude on balance. Like, they do a very much a case of, we have faith and we're celebrating it. And I'll respect that until the cows come home. As long as you're not trying to force it down my throat, then I don't care. I'll deal with it however you like. But I think they did that part pretty well. They have done for a few albums now.
The third track is called Let Him In.
I know, but if you listen to the lyrics deeply, like it's about more about the impact as opposed to it's a suggestive sell tactic as opposed to a door knocking tactic. Does that make sense?
All I could think is like faith plus one.
Yeah, very faith plus one.
So I get all those cruises, but I've been able to sort of park that stuff for a while now. Because the last two albums from Stryper actually really impressed me. I thought they were pretty bloody well done, the last two in particular. This isn't as strong as those two, though. And yeah, they did miss a trick with the mix in the mids. I think having the alter bridge mix would make it a lot better. But overall, I didn't mind it. I think they've got some nice use of space. Like, nothing here is going to be overly, oh my God, wow, creative. But they do have a shtick that they've gone for and all that sort of stuff. And I think they do it pretty well overall. Are they the world's most mind-blowing metal band? No. And they never have been. But they do enough to make it at least good. And it's, and to good to great kind of thing in how much you can enjoy the riff work and all sorts of stuff. Yes, the mix didn't help that, but the actual, when you dig into it, and I'm listening through these awesome headphones here that I've got that just really allow me to dig into it a lot deeper. Maybe that's a different representation I'm getting out, but I didn't mind the mix because I was still able to pick up enough of what was going on. I know that I missed a trick there, but I still think it overall did all right. I didn't mind the hooks. I know it's cheesy, but I thought they were well done. It does have the whole earworm effect, which is what a hook is supposed to do. It's supposed to stay with you. And I thought that, they did a nice job in writing the songs of letting things ring out. They didn't just always make it crammed and busy. They had moments where things sort of spaced and played out in the environment, so to speak, that they created for it. And I think that was really nice to done. So it didn't make the album a one-trick pony, and that was cool too. They had like the ballads and stuff in there, which you expect, but they wrote some really good songs. Not all of them are fantastic, but they wrote some really good ones on this one. This won't win new fans. That's a given. I think at this point in time, Stryper aren't even trying to win new fans. They probably shouldn't even be trying to, but they still have enough here to make their existing fans more than happy for mine. And as I've gotten to know their discography better over the years, I find this to be one of the better ones of their catalogue, especially when you compare their last three to their first three, for example. You can see there's a leap of how far they've come from the time when they started to where they are today. Not as good as the last two, but I think it's still a record worth listening to. I don't think you should dismiss this one. I know that it's going to be challenging for some people to listen to this sort of stuff. And yes, Brendan and Tim are going to disagree with me on this. But I think it's worth checking out to make up your own mind for. I gave it a 7 out of 10. Even the Devil Believes, This I Pray, and Forgotten Rock and Roll. And yes, that's cheesy as all hell, but This I fucking pray. Yeah. But the reason why I chose that song is because there's a great hook in it. Like, the melody of that was really cool. I thought ultimately, on balance, that's one of the purest forms of him celebrating what he believes, as opposed, and also it was much less ran down the throat kind of mentality than a lot of the other songs on the record as well. I think lyrically that was very sort of, to the neutral listener, one of those ones I know the title is off-putting, but the lyrics themselves it's easy to get into. I want to hear what actual long-term Stryper, I know people are going to hate on us for this review, and that's okay, but I want to hear what long-term Stryper fans think of this particular record and where it ranks, because I think Fallen and To Hell with the Devil, the last two, particularly Fallen was a belter of a record. I don't think this one stacks up to the previous two, but it is still a solid record. So I want to see where the actual Stryper fans land on this one and see if
comment away.
Yeah, they will. Don't worry. They will. We know they will. But that's what we have for this week. So let us know your thoughts on anything we've done here for this one. We'll go to a bin very shortly, but I'm going to quickly plug again. Make sure you're tuning in 10:30 p.m. on Thursday nights on Channel 44 in Adelaide, and then 10:30 p.m. on Saturday nights in Melbourne on Channel 31 to watch us on television, where we get to do all of our stupid shit and play some music for you. Follow all of our social media channels. Is the best place to keep up to date with everything we're doing, and also make sure you're subscribing to wherever you're watching this particular piece of content as well. And please help us out via Patreon if you'd be so kind. And please check out our wonderful sponsors, Squidding, Screen Printing, Alt Cult, and Rockstar Finance. In particular, Alt Cult at the moment to get involved with the Battle Jack competition. Very cool prizes up for grabs. Get in on it.
But it's time for a bad edit.
No, we're going to do a bin, then we're going to get out of here. Can you hang on for a bin and then we get out of here?
No, it's a bad edit.
It's a bad edit? All right, it's bad edit. All right, we're coming back from a very, very bad edit because Brendan simply couldn't hold on any longer. And it's just in time for the last 3 minutes of the show in the bin. So we've done all the plugs, done all that. We'll go to the credits shortly. But before we do, it's time for the bin. And Brendan, we're going to go to you first. What have you got for us?
okay, I'm a big footy fan, as most of us are, oddly enough.
Mm-hmm.
Puts us in a strange space in the artistic realm, but anyway. I think last week, on Fox Footy, Kelly Underwood returned as a female commentator for the first time in like a decade. And she was like universally shit-canned the first time she came out, which I thought was hideously unfair.
Yeah.
And it seemed that the same amount of meat-headed fucking gorillas came out and decided to buddy unload on her again.
Really?
Frankly, I was actually listening to that, and I thought she did a phenomenal job. But like I said, I think she did a phenomenal job 10 years ago. So for anyone that's bloody, jumping all over that purely because she's female, because I can't think of another reason, because the amount of shit male commentators that are around, it's just embarrassing.
There are some horrible ones out there.
There are some dreadful ones. So just, can you all kindly fuck right off? She's a fantastic journalist. She's a fantastic commentator. And you can all go fuck yourselves.
And we need more of the good ones too, not less.
Absolutely. Australia's so far behind on that shit too. Like, America does it a lot better than us.
Yeah,
they don't do a lot of things much better than us. And about NBA, like the what's the woman's name? She's on 2K as well.
Doris Burke.
She is fantastic. Like, oh man, we are so far behind. Kelly Underwood, you are bloody wonderful. If you're watching this, and I'm sure you are, I love you.
Go well. All right. Timmy, follow that
up. So we're in isolation, which means I don't have much social interaction, which means I don't have much to bin.
you do in your own band, don't you?
So the only person that made me cringe lately was actually Jake the Snake Roberts.
Wow. What's he done now?
He went on national TV and told the world that no one will bust a nut while he's around.
What?
So Jake the Snake Roberts, you and your snake can get in the bin.
Okay. That's out there. Even for him, that's
left field.
Yeah. Right. That's
left nut.
He does have some runs on the board for being a loose unit, though, let's be honest.
Yeah, this is very, very, very established.
It's perfectly in character.
Yes.
It's not kayfabe, though. That's the problem. Listen to us get all the wrestling shit. We'll have to do those B-sides where we do the wrestling and the sports and all that shit at some point, because people are going to get tired of our in-jokes. My bin for this week is pretty straightforward, and that is that to all of the peanuts out there that are doing nothing but firing shots from the sideline without having any skin in the game when it comes to what's happening at the moment, fuck off. No one needs any further angst being driven into this thing. And if you find your social media profile diminishing because you've done some stupid things on social media, you only owe that to yourself. I really just think it's silly that if you've got nothing constructive to say, especially at the moment, all you're doing is, I understand a one-off vent. I completely get that. A couple of vents and that to get it out of your system. I get that completely and it feels good. But when it's non-stop, day in, day out, no matter what side of the fence you land on, because it happens on both sides of the fence too, by the way, not just one side. And it's just deplorable behaviour. So if you're not going to be constructive, just shut up and get on with it. We'll get through it. It'll take a few more weeks. Okay, fine. And then none will even care in a few years anyway. It'll be all over and done with. So
an event is very different from an attack.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Vent all you want. Don't start attacking people.
Yeah. I think that's the best way to put it, actually. Venting is fine. Attacking, not so much. And that goes to the politicians as well. Just get on with the job. Not just grandstanding for no bloody good reason at all. I mean, the opposition in this state has been deplorable at best with their antics. Not a single constructive sentence from any of them. But anyway, that's enough. That's enough for me on that one. I'll be here all night. Otherwise, I'm going to get out of it. So, again, thank you both of you for helping me out with this one tonight. And we'll be back again very, very soon for all of your entertainment, hopefully. But until then, I'm Andrew.
I'm Brendan.
I'm Tim.
As always,
drink up.
Rock on.
But
Now it's time for a bad edit.
No, we're going to do a bin, then we're going to get out of here. Can you hang on for a bin and then we get out of here?
No, it's a bad edit.
It's a bad edit? All right, it's bad edit.
Been holding it for the last 2 albums.
You could have said something sooner as opposed to waddling off like a duck. Hey, feel better now?
You have to put a scheduled piss break in. Like, I'm going to put in a complaint to HR. It's 2 weeks away.
I've already ordered
Fucking
you.
unbelievable. Is Jody HR? Jody!
Yeah, I've already ordered you a piss bucket.
I could put a bucket on there. Do the old Crown Casino tube down the leg thing.
Hey, your cat already shits in the room, so what's the difference now?
Yeah, that's true.
And you're a real high roller too.
Dear.
Wow. That's,
Classy.
yeah, well, that's everything about us in about 30 seconds right there.
Um,